Buss tweet, I miss KB, Kobe Bryant. He would understand and explain everything that I'm not allowed to. Honestly, he was the greatest Laker ever. I'm just going to repeat that for a second. Honestly, he was the greatest Laker ever. He understood the team over self, meaning your rewards would come if you valued team goals over your own, and then everything would fall into place. All can reply. What? Dave, that's my answer. What?
Oh man, this is some murky territory because
I'm not asking you I don't want you to go on a ledge that you don't know.
Well, no, I'm just saying let's try to explain the pitfalls that exist in having this conversation. Kobe Bryant, I loved watching him play. I watched him play since the time I was in middle school. He went to a local rival school 8 miles down the road from where I went to school. I loved covering him. What a tremendous competitor. He's had Magic Johnson call him the greatest Laker of all time. Unassailable resume that just evokes all sorts of wonderful memories, and certainly the tragedy is still very raw. If we were to actually go back and look with an objective eye at Kobe Bryant's time with the Lakers, there are things that would lead you to say he was not the greatest teammate. There are things that lead you to say that the way his contract was structured prevented the Lakers from winning late in his career, which in turn led to the longest down spiral in the history of the franchise prior to LeBron James deciding to come in 2018. And so that's why I got to lay it all out there like that, because to have an honest conversation here can be tough because, emotions are raw. And
he also demanded a trade at one point.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah.
In my estimation, and listen, other parties involved here, and I'm talking about LeBron James, he's conducted business this way in the past by putting out cryptic tweets that, quite frankly, I don't think helped the process along what his teams were going through in that moment.
Agreed.
And I don't think Jeanie Buss's tweet is helping get business done at a high level in this moment as well.
Agreed. Andrew, what did you think of that?
No, it was definitely one of those things you look at. I remember seeing it this morning and you're like, it kind of today's point, it raises more questions than I think you would like to have at this point in the process. You kind of want to be in a situation where it's the cleanest possible. You don't have that many outside stuff. And when something like that happens, it just kind of raises, like I said, a lot more questions that I think that anybody really wants to deal with at this point.
Jeanie Buss has been on Twitter since 2009. She is extremely experienced now is what it means to be the president and co-owner of the Lakers, and knows that her words are very powerful, as LeBron does too. LeBron knows when he tweets something, he will instantaneously be reacting. And Jeanie probably, how many times a day wishes she could tweet something and doesn't, because she knows that the consequences of her making comment on the record are vast and she can't control them. I could only imagine during the Showtime series or the HBO series about the Showtime Lakers, where every single week her father was being portrayed in a certain way, even though I happen to love the character in the show. I never met Jerry Buss, the man. I loved the character in the show. But, it wasn't my father. So how am I going to say how she's going to feel? But my guess is she didn't love it. And I don't know how I would feel if my teenage self or, young adult self was being portrayed. It wasn't me who said how it was. She could have made comment on that, and she didn't. So, if she's not even commenting on that, much less actually her team. And yet she comes out with this tweet. And by the way, like, you don't even need to know. Like, of course LeBron wants the Lakers to trade for Kyrie Irving. I mean, Dave, do you want to have your salary doubled? Is it controversial to say something that's obvious?